Hey everyone, my name's Pupsker, and today I want to talk about the simple fact that if you've played thousands of hours in a game, there's a decent chance that you kind of love that game, loved that game, or at least in your mind, it is a good game. The reason I'm talking about that is because a little while ago, I made, I guess, a sort of Warframe review. I made a video called Should You Play Warframe? I didn't mean to treat it like a full-on review, but it seems like that's what it has become. All well and dandy, whatever, that's fine. But I've gotten a lot of comments on that video from people saying things along the lines of, I've played thousands of hours. I've played 10,000s of hours of Warframe, and trust me, it's not worth it. And I have a couple comments specifically I do want to go over, just because there's some of the more, not necessarily ridiculous, just the more long-winded explanations. One of them's kind of hilariously ridiculous, but the other one's way more reasonable in its own way. And we'll go over that, don't worry. Don't shit on anyone in this video or the comments or anything, because they have their own reasons, right? But I just want to talk about the notion of you playing thousands of hours in a video game and then calling it a bad game. I myself used to be a MapleStory YouTuber and streamer. I've played thousands of hours in that game. I would say it's a good, fun game, but unless you want to spend a lot of time on it or spend a lot of money on it, you probably shouldn't play, because you really need to like the grind in that game. It's 10,000 times more grindy than Warframe, so it's pretty insane. So let's get to the first comment. Yeah, this one I think is one of the more, silly ones. Anyways, as someone with 2,000 hours that has quit after the fail of Railjack but has paid attention to future now past updates, no, it is absolutely not worth your time. Every update from around late 2018 has been boring, broken, every new one grindier than the last, and extremely severely lacking in substance. Recently, the dumbasses that were masturbating to everything DE related have come to notice what everyone else was saying. With the new Deimos update, DE stopped listening. Oh, I should probably also say, there's definitely valid points that are in long-winded explanations like these. So don't get me wrong, there's definitely valid points, but how they go about it's just kind of ridiculous. So it's turned into a consumer's game because haha, developer is so quirky. Anyways, grind out this weapon and frame for the next 2 weeks, or buy with platinum, haha. Yes, you can earn platinum in game, but it's another grind, only to enable yourself to grind for more stuff. And remember, someone has to actually buy platinum for it to get into the market circulation. I was a dumbass for my first 2 years, spending over 300 euros on the game just to support it. I'm just gonna throw this out there, 300 euros and getting 2,000 hours out of a game is really good value if you think about it. I feel like people don't quite realize how much value free-to-play games can bring, but I'll talk about that after. Only to be greeted with absolute tardiness when it came to content. Yeah, no, that's definitely valid there. Warframe has little to no new or original content. Everything boils down to grinding resources, disconnected from 50% of the game, and grinding for frames and weapons, which serve you to grind for more. There is no fun or interactive content. The story, if it wasn't locked behind a total of 60 to 80 hours of gameplay altogether, would take you maybe 5 hours to finish, so that's a waste. PvP, ha 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 ha, let's not even talk about that, it's a joke. The only thing Warframe has going for it are the cosmetics, and over half of them are from outside creators, which means you have to pay real money for them, which means your platinum is useless. I'd reckon that equalizes the standing ground of this plus to a plus slash, okay, cool. All in all, if you have literally nothing else to do with your life, you might as well waste it on Warframe before you eventually burn out and throw it in the can. If you have a day-to-day game you're playing, just stick with it. Warframe is my day-to-day game. You're literally better off paying a subscription to an MMORPG like WoW or Final Fantasy XIV. I've played both of them, both are good games as well. Then you're playing for Warframe, for free. But at least updates in those games are meaningful. If it's a looter shooter you're after, seriously, just play Destiny 2, there's literally no reason for you not to, given that the base game 60% of the available content is free. The difference in polish and meaningful progression is Andromeda and Earth. Okay. So he obviously has some decent, proper criticisms in there, yeah, you can say the game's lacking substance, sure. You can criticize the game and the updates. I think definitely the updates are the biggest thing to criticize. The weird ones are when you just say that I've played thousands, I've enjoyed the game for thousands of hours and it's not worth it. That's my main trigger point right there. It's okay, If you've played a game for 2,000 hours, were you miserable all of those 2,000 hours? And if so, what kind of weird existence do you live where you're willing to play something that you hate for 2,000 straight hours? No, what happened is you liked Warframe, you had a lot of fun with Warframe, and you really enjoyed the game. But updates started coming out, and they were kind of buggy and broken, which is definitely understandable. DE has a problem with that. Don't worry, like, that's definitely true. And then they just brought in more grinding, which, this is a looter shooter. The point of the game is the game, and to just play and have fun. Like, I think a lot of people don't quite realize the game doesn't need a massive point. It doesn't need this big climax and this massive, like, payout. You're playing a video game. You should be playing a video game to have fun and enjoy your time. That's generally what it is. You don't need a payout. You're playing a video game. It's for fun, guys. You're not at, like, the casino. You're not, like, hunting in real life where if you go and kill an animal, you're going to get food, meat, hide, whatever, right? You're playing a video game to have fun and enjoy your free time. So I think a lot of people kind of don't realize that. Yeah, if you're not having any more fun with Warframe, you should definitely, like, take a break or stop playing. But if you're having fun with it, yeah, do what you think is fun. That's the general idea. That's why I'm playing Warframe, and that's why I assume you're playing Warframe. There's criticisms like all the, like, separated resources that are disconnected from 50% of the game. Yeah, see, like, things like that are definitely valid criticisms, but they're just things about the game that he doesn't like. A lot of people don't mind that. I personally don't care. I think there's enough fun to play in all the open worlds and whatnot, and I don't care too much about the disconnected resources, because there's other ways to get them still, but I understand why other people don't like them. He's saying grinding for warframes and weapons is just more grind, which is, well yeah, what, you want the game to just give you everything? I don't quite get that one. He's complaining that he has to play the game to get stuff and play the game, so it's a little weird there. No fun or interactive content. That's just kind of a fallacy with the fact that he played 2,000 hours, so it's clearly a little interactive and fun. He's complaining about the story being locked behind a lot of gameplay, yeah, like, and the fact that it's short. Okay, yeah, like, that's fair. PvP, it has no PvP. It does, but, you know, it doesn't have PvP. So yeah, like, there are obviously a lot of fair criticisms in a response like that, but he's just, like, so outwardly aggressive and annoyed about it, and just so disingenuous with his actual response, that it's just, that's the thing. Responses like these just aren't worth anything, because it's proper criticism mixed in with just shitting on the game / creators / devs, because you're either not happy with the state of the game, not happy with certain updates, and honestly, the idea is you're just not happy. That's the first one I wanted to go over. I'm not going over it piece by piece, I'm just talking about it, going over it in a general sense, because I think I got the idea out there. Right? You can criticize the game, don't worry. Just don't be a dick about it, you know? Criticize it properly. And yeah, obviously, when a game updates and when things come, it's not going to be perfect for everyone. Things change, updates happen. And yeah, DE has a lot you can criticize them for, don't get me wrong, but just don't be dumb about it. Criticize them properly, give examples, and give proper help, you know? That's the way it should be, not like these. Obviously, you can just be hyperbolic and criticize like that guy was doing, but throwing in hyperbole is usually fun when you're talking with friends and whatnot, but it doesn't serve to actually further a good purpose, because hyperbole always comes off as aggressive and angry. Trust me, I love ranting and just saying stuff too, but when I make my videos, I try not to do that, because it's not a productive thing to do, right? It's just fun and like a good thing to get your anger out, right? And yeah, comments on YouTube aren't quite great for that. So this next comment is definitely how I would say you should approach criticism. This person's properly like understanding and giving his criticisms, but there's also some logical fallacies in here. So let's get started. Hello everyone, I watched through the entire video and I'd like to give my thoughts on it. I hope that's fine, of course. I recently quit the game after achieving MR30. That's pretty hype to be fair. I have approximately 12k hours in the game, according to Steam, and I have been through a lot with the game. My main problems are the devs overhype the updates way too much just to release them in an unfinished, half-bagged, buggy mess. That is 100% a real proper criticism, and I agree with that fully. And I think I've made that criticism on multiple videos as well. So DE definitely needs to stop hyping stuff up so much, especially when they release it in the state that Railjack was released. I think that's where I made that point, because Railjack release was the worst thing I've played in a while. It's good now though. Nerfing things that are actually fun, buffing things, and somehow making them worse. Yeah, DE really needs to be honest about things and stop saying they're buffing something when they're making it worse. Definitely agree with that. Or like changing how it works to make it objectively worse, but you know, it's like they don't even play their own game. Just change some numbers and call it a day. Yeah, the numbers thing is definitely a little odd lately. A lot of numbers on new release updates have just been crazy broken, but either in a good way or a bad way. Bone Widow, very underpowered, but that is what it is. All of the open worlds are just reskins of each other. Once you do, let's say 10 bounties on the highest difficulty, it's not actually difficult, the enemies are just more bullet spongy. Even that becomes tedious. Same goes with everything else really. Liches, Samaris, Steel Path, New Game Plus, Conclave, Railjack, and so on. DE has become way too corporate, who care more for a quick cash rather than player enjoyment. While that's like somewhat valid, you can definitely say, oh, they're seemingly too money hungry, which yeah, that's fine. Proper, right? He doesn't give like the best examples, just Steel Path, Conclave, Railjack. People have been asking for things like Steel Path. Conclave does suck, Railjack did suck. Samaris, I think Samaris is pretty good, but I don't quite know about that. And Liches, yeah, Liches are definitely weird because their guns require 5 forms each. So it does 100% seem like DE's trying to money grab a lot with certain updates. But that being said, they are also trying to do the thing where they're trying to make content that people can play for a long time without having to necessarily update it for a long time. They're trying to do the thing where they balance amount of time played with the amount of time it takes to develop it. Because Warframe is a free-to-play game, they can only do so much, right? Revenue and everything depends on how much revenue they bring in as a free-to-play game. The more money they get, the more people they can bring into the team. How effective they work, I can't really say about that because I have no idea how efficient and effective their work is because I have no scale of game development, right? So that is definitely a real criticism, right? A lot of things you can say harder is more bullet spongy, the open worlds are the same, but they're not really the same. They have their own stories, their own ideas, their own gameplay, and like different factions. Like I wouldn't say they're the same at all, other than the fact that they're open worlds and they have fishing and mining. They all have their own separate activities and things to do. The things that, you know, make them the same are like bounties, open worlds. Yeah, they're all open worlds that share the same aesthetic in the sense that they all play the same as open worlds. But they all have some different things to do, different stories, different interesting things like Eidolons. Fortuna, you got Orb Weaver, you got a lot of things. And then in Deimos, you have like Isolation Vaults, you have Necromech. They all bring their own unique spin to the table and reasons to play them. He also talks about, oh, we also have loot boxes, Rivens. It works a bit differently than actual loot boxes. The person who pulls the lever has to grind for Kuva to have a chance to get something good. The person who's buying the Riven has to put down the money. Yeah, we do have our own loot box system, but that's because Warframe does need, you know, as a free-to-play game, just continually never stop playing type content. I do want to remind people that Digital Extremes and pretty much any game developer out there creating a live service game has the somewhat impossible task of always creating new, fresh, enjoyable content that lasts apparently forever and that is like completely fair in every possible way. Like you gotta kind of have to give and take a little bit here. Like they need to create systems that you can just play the game and grind the game for no great reason, but just cause you want like stronger or more chances at pulling Rivens. So you don't need Rivens at all to play the game. That's the thing. None of this is required to even get to like end-to-end game. So you have to think of that. Like none of this is required. You're doing that because you choose to. The main part of the game is just playing to have fun. And it is a free-to-play live service game, so just try to always remember that. But if you don't like Rivens, you don't like Rivens. That's fair. That's whatever. Definitely understandable. Let's continue on. So I'd say that no, the game is not worth playing in the slightest. You're probably better off playing games like Borderlands 3, Hades, Cyberpunk, Doom Eternal, Monster Hunter, or hell, even Destiny 2 is better than Warframe at this point. If you look through Warframe's recent videos on their channel, namely the recent trailer for the Deimos Arcana, you'll see the video has almost as many dislikes than likes, and there's a reason for that. Okay, the first part, like, he's saying, no, the game's not worth it, you can play all these other games. Yeah, those are other games, that's fine, whatever. Like, those are mostly good games. I have a bone to pick with Borderlands 3. I think it was actually the worst out of the ones he listed, but yeah, those are all fun games, sure, that's fine there, but that's such a contradictory statement. I've played 12,000 hours in the game, and no, it's not worth playing. So I know for a fact you didn't play 12,000 hours of the game sad, pissed off, and angry. And the thing for new players is, they can play all of the content that this guy had fun in and played for 12,000 hours right now. New players don't have to go through the issues of buggy content unless they want to play the newest content on like day one release. They can play all of the old stuff and trust me, it'll still be buggy, I should say, but it won't be like game-breakingly buggy for the most part. You can still go back and play the fun stuff. So that's why I just don't really agree with those sort of criticisms. It's kind of like a veteran trying to explain being a veteran to a new player without any of the good parts about being a veteran of the game, right? You don't ever talk about how much fun you had, how much stuff you did, what you did to get to the end. You just talk about how you're not happy with the state the game is in now, which it's all valid criticism, but you know, it's just kind of like looking at it from one lens. You're only looking at it from a negative light and not talking about those 12,000 hours of positive, happy light that you got out of it. So yeah, that's why I always say, if you're not having fun or you're getting bored with the game, either take a break or stop playing for a bit. You don't have to do anything or play any game if you truly don't want to. So please, just try to always remember that. And the recent video on the Deimos Arcana release, yeah, no, that's just because that was a mess of a release. It was really buggy. Bone Widow's like worthless. There's just a lot of things to work out. So I do wish DE would test things more before they push it out and just delay things more often. So yeah, I wish they'd give less concrete dates, especially at this point because, you know, 2020, work from home, etc. I just wish they would say, hey, this is what we have planned, we'll let you know when it is coming out, and then when it does come out, make sure it's not so buggy and broken that people can't play it. Because yeah, there's definitely a lot of proper criticisms to give to Digital Extremes, and this comment is actually a proper criticism for the most part, but I just think it's mostly from a veteran's like endgame type perspective, not a new player's perspective. Anyways, he ends it off, or she ends it off with, so please try to hear me out. There are so many better wonderful games you can spend your time and money on. Try your best to avoid this one. Also avoid EA, Activision, Ubisoft games too. Well, there's no actual build diversity, there's only damage and invisibility. The rest is completely useless. That I definitely agree with is wrong. Sorry, definitely don't agree with. So that's wrong. You can make builds for whatever reason. There are different ways to kill, damage, do things, etc. Like, there are a ton of build diversity. It's just, it depends what you're looking for, right? You're looking for loot, if you're looking for effective, most frames have build diversity for what you want them to do, what abilities you want to specify for. Now that there's Helminth, yeah, most of the abilities do come down to like damage, but a lot of it's like how you do damage, how you want to play the game. I just don't think people are thinking about the game from that sort of perspective. You need to realize, guys, if you're playing Warframe because the game's fun and you're having a good time. Not because you hate yourself and you're just, so angry at the game. So if you're having fun, you're enjoying Warframe, yeah, that's okay, play the game. Of course, nothing's perfect, so everyone has criticism for the game. Trust me, everyone. It's just, it's more convenient and understanding to come at it with a normal lens and not like an angry one like the previous angry first one. Anyways, guys, that's the end of this video. I just kind of wanted to talk about like the two style of Warframe criticism comments and the logical fallacies in them. If you like the game, play the game. If not, take a break and stop. Because again, it's a game, life's about enjoying it, right? So, yeah. If you like the video, check out some of my other stuff. I recently live streamed, and that's where all the footage in the background here came from. Live streamed on YouTube. It's unlisted, but I'll eventually create a playlist, so yeah, check out some of my other stuff. But yeah, really just thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time. Peace.